And welcome. You are in Manifesting Your Dreams with Pablo, Miguel, and today we're having so much fun at the studio here. It's a beautiful day in Las Vegas. If it's the first time you're joining us, you are for a treat today because I have an incredible guest. If this is the first time you're watching us, just to give you a little bit of an overview of what we do, we are focusing on helping people manifest their dreams. And to do that, we're covering the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read this book, we highly recommend it because Napoleon Hill took 20 years to actually interview and investigate why some people actually are able to manifest the life of their dreams where most people don't. And very interestingly, he discovered 17 principles, 17 principles that all these people from all walks of life in all different industries have in common. So what we do every week is we cover one of those principles so you have something to work on, and we have an amazing guest who's actually manifesting his or her dream. So today I'm very, very pleased because we have somebody very, very special. Her name is Chelsi Soley, and we met at a dinner. It was a dining around town. It was an event that we do every month, and we were just sitting together and we started chatting, and I was so impressed because she's so young, but she has this pure heart and this desire to help others, and we have so many things in common that I said, you know what, I love to have Chelsi in my show, but she's been traveling all over the world, which has made it very, very difficult. So she just arrived, you probably didn't even open up your briefcase, and we have her here today in the show. So Chelsi, thank you for taking the time to be with us, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of this.
Yeah, so why don't you just take a couple of minutes and just share a little bit about you and tell our audience a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, and things like that.
Okay. Well, my name's Chelsi. I'm 26. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I've lived in Las Vegas for almost 3 years now, and I don't have all of life's answers or anything, but I've made it my primary purpose to help others and to do what I can to be of service and just enjoy life. And that's why I'm here, because if I can share that with one person, then I think I've succeeded a little bit.
Absolutely, and that's what makes a difference, because so many times you meet young people and they're like totally lost, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like you have taken the time, the energy, self-educate yourself, to learn about things, and also to share what you learn with others, right? So that's the part that impressed me a lot. It seems like you're always helping somebody else, right? Wow. You're always guiding somebody else, or showing them the way, or at least trying, right? At least trying. And that makes a huge difference. And that is the purpose of our show, right? Because we know every single person is born the same way, right? We're all totally ignorant, we're all scared, we don't know what to do. And then we start learning, but we do know that we all have a desire to bring a gift to the world, right? We all have a desire to make things happen. But as we get a little older, or when we become adults, I call it adulterated, right? It's like we have fear coming in the way, right? Or we have that voice in the head. Say, well, who are you to think you can do those things, right? So those things, so we know that you have some dreams that you probably have achieved, right? There's some things that you have manifested in your life, but we also know there might be some dreams that maybe you've forgotten, right? So part of the program is actually help you reawaken those dreams, because we know for a fact that if we couldn't achieve them, okay, our creator or whatever you believe happens to be wouldn't have put them in our minds, right? Sure. The key is a little bit like a challenge. Okay, this is what I like to see happen. How can I make it happen? So in our program, we share stories of people that are making things happen so you can get inspired. We also give you tips. We also give you strategies. And every week we focus on something different. And so a few weeks ago, we found out that people that really make things happen have what is called definiteness of purpose, right? They say, this is what I want to do, okay? And we're going to talk about your trip to Spain on the next segment, because I was very impressed with that, okay? It's like when you said, this is what I want to happen, right? People that don't achieve things, they don't know what they want. Or today they want to go this way, tomorrow they change their mind, right? Sure. So that's one of the things. And one of the things that stop people, and what we're going to focus in today, that stop people from actually making things happen is fear, okay? And we're all born with it, because it's a self-preservation mechanism. So there's nothing wrong with fear, right? It's just like an alert to say, hey, you better be careful, because in our DNA we want to, stay as a species and as a human being. But sometimes that fear is really irrelevant, right? So we need to recognize. So you think about some of the fears you have in your life, and there's ways to overcome them, right? So tell us a couple of things that you like to do, or as you growing up, how did you become a little bit different into wanting to be better, right? Because I think personal growth is big for you, right?
It is.
So how did that happen? How did that come about?
Well, you know what? I grew up in a home where there was a lot of trauma and grief and some mental illness, and I just wanted to be happy and okay, and when I was younger, I didn't feel that way, and I struggled with depression and a lot of fear in my life, which turned into anxiety, and I was terrified to do a lot of things. I would just hide in my room for a while. I didn't know how to cope with life, and it really stopped me from interacting the way other people would in school, in social settings, and I had all these dreams, I had all these hopes, but I didn't know how to get there, and I didn't really have the tools to figure it out. And so, I don't know, just watching some of the struggles from my family, I just wanted to be able to help them and to help myself a bit. And so I just started on this journey of mental growth and spiritual growth, and trying to figure out how can I be better, how can I get past these struggles, and I don't have to fall into some of these same patterns.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's been an interesting journey, but a good one.
That is fascinating. So what were kind of like the first tools that helped you? The first thing that you discovered, was that a book, somebody else's story? How did that happen?
Wow,
the breakthrough,
It's hard to say, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, but I remember my dad, David, who had adopted me at a really young age, he would tell me these stories at night, and he would give me these National Geographic magazines, and he would give me books, and we'd go to the library, and so I would just dive into these stories and pretend I was an explorer and something really great, and I would take my bicycle and pretend I was going on these trips, and I'd put on my backpack, and I would just walk around the block and climb trees, and so the outdoors has always been a very therapeutic thing for me, and that had given me a bit of release for some of the stuff that was going on. So,
that is fantastic. You just gave me all these great ideas. How young were you when the National Geographic, when that started happening?
Gosh, it's really hard to say. Maybe 5, 6, but
You
it
see?
planted a seed in my mind.
That's fantastic, because so many times, I see parents spending time with the kids, or single mothers spending time with the kids and so forth, and they have no idea those seeds that they're planting right nowadays. And on the other hand, we see sometimes parents being very stressed, right?
Yeah.
And not spending the time with the kids and so forth. And again, they don't do it because they're bad people. They just get caught up with life, right? And they have no idea the things that they're causing. And as you share that with us, Chelsea, by the way, I had a very similar upbringing too. I was very stressed out. I was an introvert. I didn't really get along with other people and things like that. And when I was 15 years old, I was on vacation. We were living in Buenos Aires, and every summer we would go to Montevideo with my cousins, and we will go to bed at night, right? And we never fall asleep. It's like, okay, good night. And, oh, by the way, let me tell you something else. Okay, we need to go to sleep now, right? Oh, by the way, and it would be like 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're still talking because I may not see them again for a year, right? And then my cousin shared with me a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, right? And at the time, I thought I was messed up, right? I didn't think I could change. I thought there was something wrong with me. And then when I read the book, I went like, oh my God, there are things that I could do, right? I could do things, right?
And I can completely relate to that. And it's not that I couldn't make friends, I just didn't know how to keep them. I didn't know how to maintain, because I thought I had to put up this facade and be something else and kind of be a chameleon. But I realized that I had to contribute to the friendships and to help maintain that. So yeah, I can definitely relate to that
is
as well.
fantastic. And that is a proof that it really doesn't matter where we are today. it really doesn't matter, right? Where we are today is just a consequence of where we've been in the past, right? But we can make a decision at any single moment, and it could be a National Geographic magazine, a story, right? That we say like, oh my God, or it could be just getting a bike and going on a trip and exploring something. So, and then we don't know when we do that with somebody else, right? We say, why don't you come with me? We open up a whole new future for somebody else. That's fantastic. That is amazing. Because so many times people will say, oh, you don't understand. Look at where I was growing up.
Yeah.
And that's why my life is messed up, right? You see, people will use that as an excuse just to stay the way they are. And in your case, you said, I want to get out of there. I want to make it different,
that
right?
Actually, I really believed that I was a victim for a really long time, up until I would say maybe 2 years ago. I had these resentments, and I thought, oh, like, I can't do this because, and maybe I'm not good enough because I don't have this, and it really affected every area of my life. But I realize I'm not a victim in those things. I'm grateful for them because they've made me a strong woman. I'm able to contribute to other people's stories now and tell them, hey, you can come from some hardships, but that doesn't mean you don't have to be, you can't be happy. It's still possible. And that's one of my biggest messages, is that just be grateful for the experiences that you have and use them to grow.
Absolutely. And we can go from and maybe we were victims, right? But we can go from feeling like a victim into being a victor, just like that, just opening up something. And I was just reading, I don't follow much basketball, but everybody knows who LeBron is, right? And most people don't know. It's like his father left when his mother was pregnant. At 16, he left. And then they grew up with a lot of challenges, and situations, and that was one of the things that made him say. I mean, he said, "I don't think I will be who I am today if I hadn't had those challenges when I was growing up." So we're gonna be right back in a minute. We have a lot of stories to share with you. You're here in Manifesting Your Dreams. If you like to stay in contact with us, go to our website at www.manifestingyourdreams.net. Just put your information there. We're going to send you a PDF with 5 things you can do to start overcoming fear right now. So don't go anywhere. We're going to go into a couple of ads, and we'll be right back with Chelsi because her story is amazing. So just stay with us. We'll see you soon.
Hey everyone, this is Maria of Let's Talk World. Let's Talk World is about you, your story, your product and services. If you have a business or you want to join us and be on this hot seat, please give us a call or message us on Facebook or email us info@socialmediashows.com or visit our website socialmediashows.com. Thank you, world.
Thank you, man. You join the show, baby?
Yes, I do. I guess you like this honey, huh?
That's some good honey, baby. That's not the honey I want. I want this one. Oh yeah, baby. See, bet you can't compete with this, huh? That smells so sweet, baby. Oh, can you feel that? Oh, that's so good, girl. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's the stuff. Oh, this is.
everyone, welcome back. You're here in Manifesting Your Dreams, and we're having a great time here with Chelsi today. We're going over one of the probably most important chapters in the book, but also one of the most overlooked. You know why? Because it's kind of like at the end of the book, right? And you know, I don't know if you know this about statistics here in the US. Only 10% of the people that buy books will read beyond the first chapter. Did you know that?
That's terrible.
10%, right? In other words, so if, I'm guilty of that too, buying books and don't even read them sometimes, right? But only 10% will go beyond the first chapter. I find that incredible. So we talk about some of the things that people have done to manifest their dreams. We talk about having the desire to make things happen. We have talked about in other previous segments, previous chapters. If you haven't seen them, you really want to go and see them. Have an imagination to make things happen, right? But there's one thing that if you go into manifesting books or tapes and things like that, that seldom they actually bring up to our awareness is the challenges that people go through, right? It always looks like they say you want something, just meditate on it and imagine it for 5 minutes and the universe will bring it to you like a Lyft driver picking you up and taking you somewhere, a Uber driver, right? But we know the truth is a little bit different, right? We know you have to do the right things, but at the same time, challenges will show up. In most cases, unexpected, right? Like we didn't know something was going to happen. And I'm sure in some of your trips, you have experienced something like that, right? So, but one thing that we have as a human being is fear, right? It's a self-protective mechanism that we have, for instance, because we want to stay alive, right? So sometimes if you have a desire that is way beyond your comfort zone, part of your brain is going to go like, you might get hurt.
Yeah.
Your feelings might get hurt. Don't go on that date with that guy. You know, it's gonna break your heart. You know, whatever. And then you may not go out with the guy that you really, should have go out with, or a lady, or whatever, right? So Napoleon Hill identified 6 actually major fears that we all have in common. And he said, if you really want to be successful, you have to be ready for them and you have to overcome them. So we're going to talk about those in a minute. But when I first met you, right, we were talking, and then I was very impressed by your desire to learn more, to grow, to expand, and also to help other people. And you shared the story, and I'd like everybody to hear it, about how your grandfather inspired you to go on your trip to Spain. Could you take a couple of minutes and just share how that happened and your experience on that?
Sure. So right before I moved to Las Vegas, my grandpa, who was, I think he might have been 64 at the time, he walked the Camino de Santiago, which is in Spain, and it's a 500-mile pilgrimage where you're just
500 miles.
Yeah.
Just write that down. 500 miles, right?
And you're walking with your backpack, and that's all you have. It's just kind of you out there on the trail, and I thought, wow, that's ridiculous, Grandpa. I'm absolutely, I don't know why you would do that or put yourself through that, but I moved to Las Vegas, and actually with my grandparents for 6 months, and he started talking to me more about it, and he showed me pictures, and I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I thought, oh God, I'm going to do this. And I bought a ticket like a month and a half after I decided, so I hadn't really prepared much. But my grandpa kept telling me, Chelsi, if you wait around for someone to do this with you, you're never going to get it done. And that was inspiring in itself to me, because I was afraid to go alone. I didn't think I was capable of doing something like that. I mean, I'd never walked that far in my life, let alone traveled to another country on my own. But I bought the ticket and decided, okay, well, I better start training. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences that I've ever had. At that point in my life, I'd kind of, I don't know, I was working a lot, and I thought, okay, happiness is going to be if I get this amount of money. So I tried, I worked, I made my first $10,000, and there was still something lacking, and I didn't feel that spiritual connection anymore. I do things in my life every day where I'm working with other people, and I had really withdrawn from that. So I went on this trip with just my backpack and a little bit of cash in my pocket, and I met these wonderful people along the way, and it became less about how am I going to finish this in a certain amount of time, in a certain way, and more about, okay, how are we going to do this together? Because it was about 7 of us. And
Wow.
Yeah, we would meet at different hostels at certain points. Yeah, and we were just complete strangers, and we really connected, and that's what I realized I was missing in my life. It was just that connection, and it took me walking 500 miles in Spain.
All the way in
Spain.
Spain.
With this heavy backpack in the most excruciating pain I'd ever been in, but it was also so beautiful, and I just realized if I took the time to reconnect with the people in my daily life, everything's going to be okay. It's not about the money, it's not about what I'm wearing or how I look, it's just simply about connecting with others.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Has your grandfather done the walk?
Yeah.
So he did it before.
In fact, he did it in, I think, 29 days, and I did it in 34. And not
so
only...
it took 34 days.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he actually did it faster and walked 3 days further than I did, which is very impressive. In fact, he's on the PCT right now, walking 1,000 miles or 700 miles.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
He's my hero.
That's fantastic. And you say so many things that really, I need to watch this again because I need to take notes. You know, this is like fascinating. Number one, and we did cover the power of decision, right? See, you made a decision. You said, I'm going to make that happen before you figured out all the details, right?
Yeah.
And this is something that all successful people have in common, by the way. People that are successful, they decide first, I'm going to make this happen, and then they figure out the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
People that have forgotten the dreams are the ones that they wait till everything is perfect before they actually decide. And your grandfather said, she said, if you wait till you have everything, you're not going to do it, right?
Yeah, and I can think myself out of any situation, honestly. I'll always find something wrong. And if I really want to do it, I think the key is to just take action and have faith that it's going to work out.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing that you said is like so many times we want to accomplish things because we think that's going to make us happy,
Yeah.
right? And then it's not the case. There's always like, oh, this is all there is, right? You know,
Yeah.
we get the car or we get the house or we get the whatever, and then after a while you go like, oh, it's like, oh, there's something more, right?
Yeah.
That there's nothing wrong with getting those things, right? But what I learned a while ago, and we talk about Anthony Robbins and things like that, is like he said, don't accomplish to be happy, but be happy first and accomplish later, right? Because then you really enjoy the journey, right?
And as cliche as it is, I
Yes.
think it's really about the journey and not the destination.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So like Jim Rohn is another of my favorites. You know, he said, yeah, you can set a goal to become a millionaire, but not to have the $1 million but because of the person that you will become in the process,
Yes.
right? It's like, look at the person you became. It was not the 500 miles or completing it, it's the person that you became after that. I can promise you, you were a different person going in than flying back, right?
Absolutely.
So how did you show up? So how did you show up back in your life, you know, when you came back after that experience?
Well,
Couple of things that you notice or maybe people notice.
well, I stopped trying to acquire a certain amount of money. I stopped trying to do things for myself so much. And another aspect in my life, I'm actually sober 5.5 years or so.
All right, that's a lot.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. 5 years, wow.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
But so usually every evening I try to work with other alcoholics and try and contribute a little bit to
You
their
pay me
lives.
forward.
Yeah,
You
I
pay
want
me
to pay it
forward.
forward, and that was
Fantastic.
something I had really withdrawn from before that trip because I was so stuck in self. And so when I got back, I tried to rededicate myself and to stop showing up and thinking, what can I take from these situations, and more, what can I contribute?
What can I give, right?
Exactly.
Wow, that's very, very powerful. That's fantastic. Wow, look at all the things you do.
Thank you.
Wow, how do you get the time to do all that? That's fantastic. That's
Well,
beautiful.
Honestly, I can't take all the credit though.
Yeah.
It's these wonderful people in my life had just picked me up when I was broken, and they paid it forward. And so I feel like it's my duty to just keep paying it forward. So I can't take all of the credit.
Absolutely. But you know, it's so powerful that you said that, because imagine if every single person in this planet had that attitude. You know, or every single person in our country, on our city. And maybe that's too much to ask, but how about the people in our circle, right?
Yeah.
And I think those are the ones that we can control. In other words, like, what if just a little group of us, 3, 5, 7, 15, 20, we all have that attitude? It's like, how can we help each other? How can we pay forward, right? And then it says like a high tide elevates all boats, right? So that's fantastic. And you see, if you live in Vegas, and I don't know where you are, by the way, you can type down there wherever you are. We like to know where you are. But if you live in Vegas, you know after the tragedy that happened here last year, how the whole community got together, and then on the nights, the Golden Nights, how the whole community got together. It was not about hockey. It was about people getting together, right, and doing something in common. And then actually, what happened was fantastic. So Camino de Santiago, look it up. Do you remember what part of Spain is that?
Oh gosh, I started in France. Honestly, I would just recommend looking it up.
Camino de Santiago. And who was Santiago? Do you know that?
Oh gosh.
Okay, we look it up. We'll find that out. But it's like it's just the fact, because when I was a teenager, I was growing up in Buenos Aires, and they have the Virgin of Luján, right? And I was a teenager, and then people would walk. I have no idea how long that was, but it was a long walk, and we walked all night. We slept in the floor, wherever we were. We were too tired, and we just friends. And then we did that and then eventually we end up in the Basilica of the Virgin of Luján, who had made some incredible miracles there. Yeah. But it was the bonding experience. I mean, it was not 500 miles, right? But it was quite a long trip, But at that moment, it didn't make any difference, because it was just getting together with a common objective and enjoying the journey, and then knowing that we always have more, right? Whatever we're doing, we have more. So we're gonna come back, and we like to talk about your last trip to Europe and how did that happen, and also about the hiking that you done and how you lead groups into meditation and things like that. Guys, she's only 26, and what she's doing is incredible. So we have no excuses at all. But if you just join us, we're gonna go to a break. You're in Manifesting Your Dreams, and every week we get together, we pick up an idea, like in this case it's overcoming fears, right? And we wanna inspire you to go after your dreams, but not just inspire you and go get them, Tiger, but also give you tips, give you strategies, and we like to hear from you how you're making things happen. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
John is an employee at one of the most famous firms in the city of New York. So his job is very hectic, and he realized that it is necessary for him to go and finally take a vacation. But he went on a vacation without planning out the details, and wasn't able to truly enjoy where he went because he had to think about so many things that he didn't plan for. Instead of enjoying his time away from work, he came back with more stress that he was not able to take full advantage of his vacation. But this year, a coworker suggested him to try World Ventures this time to make his vacationing more enjoyable and less stressful. They do not require you to plan anything outside of your transportation, which is also available at discounted rates. Your stay, your transport, and many meals are planned by the club. John liked the idea very much. He tries World Ventures, and his experience with the club was amazing, as he made many friends there with whom he had a great time. John recommends that everyone should try this club, as they are the best in business. See how the VIP-vacation-club.com can give you the right experience without all the hassle. Enjoy the VIP experience that...
Hi, this is Warlyn Huffy, better known as Wawa. Being in the industry for 27 years, it's so easy to talk and talk and talk. But having a family, just like social media shows, is a plus. More than a plus. You see, I have my voluptuous life, talking about my extraordinary life and the lives of those around me. And being crazy as Cece and Gizzy is something else. So why don't you be part of our family? Join social media shows. See you soon.
And welcome back. You're here to Manifesting Your Dreams. It's a beautiful day in Las Vegas, and we're just sharing some ideas with Chelsi here. Chelsi has an incredible story because she grew up with a lot of challenges, and then at one point she said, you know what, I want my life to be a little bit different, right? And she took responsibility for her life, which unfortunately a lot of people nowadays, they don't, right? They say like, oh, well, you know, I have all this situation here. But when you take responsibility for your life, I believe that's the moment we're no longer teenagers or kids, and we really become adults, right? When we say, you know what, whatever happens in my life happens, but I can do something about it, right? And that's what we go over every week. We want to inspire you. Think about what would you like to make your life? What would you like to become, right? Because we all have a little bit more. I really believe if we are alive, if we're given the gift of another day, that means we have more to achieve, we have more to experience, because sometimes it's not about achievement, it's just about being happy today, wherever we are, right? And then also to make a contribution to other people. And that's the reason we put this program together in social media shows, because we want to inspire you, start dreaming again, right? It's like we're going through some tough times in our country nowadays. There's a lot of division, there's a lot of challenges, but that doesn't mean we couldn't start dreaming again and getting together, getting our ideas together. How can we make things happen? And it's very interesting because I met over the years, my life was a little bit tough because when I was 3, we moved to another country, right? So I left all my family that I love so much, all my cousins, and then I went to a place where I really wasn't very sure I like it, you know, being so young. And then when I kind of like started liking it, you know, a few years later, we moved to another country, right? And I was always kind of like the guy that was visiting, right? I was never from the in crowd, if you will, right? So by the time I got to Vegas, I was used to, but I really like it in Vegas because everybody here is from somewhere else, right? So it was like, oh my God, everybody from somewhere else. So we had something in common. And then it's one of the nice things here in Vegas, meeting somebody like you, right? So tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're doing in our community, because I know we have Las Vegas. There's a lot outside of the street, right? You can go on hike. There's some beautiful places that you can actually go on hikes, and you can do meditations and things like that. So share a little bit about some of the things that you like to do, and how has that impacted other people as well?
Oh gosh. Well, a lot of people think of Las Vegas and they just think of the Strip, but you know, I've found that there's so many other things, like nature, for example. I love going to Red Rock, going for hikes, and it's been a real passion of mine taking people out there and letting them experience the outdoors and getting away from the buzz and the constant noise of the casinos and the electronics and the phones and just constant noise. And for me, it's been a very therapeutic thing, going out and running on the trails and just getting those endorphins and the dopamine flowing. And so I like to reach out to people who are struggling with addiction, depression, anxiety, and I take them on these hikes, and I have them climb up somewhere, and then we do these little exercises where we kind of we scream and get all of these fears
Get it out, right?
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that,
exactly.
right?
And the topic today, we're talking about fear a bit, and for me, I can get so stuck in my head that it keeps me from following my dreams, showing up for life, and I find that a lot of other people can relate to that. And when we're getting these endorphins flowing and we're doing this physical activity, it's kind of releasing that and allowing us to be more present in the moment. And so after we're done screaming and getting all our fears out, I really encourage people to take a moment and meditate or pray, and I kind of walk away to let them do that on their own. And then afterwards, I want them to be ready to take on the day and whatever is out there. Other things that I do, I like to just reach out to anyone with addiction and try to work with them one-on-one and see how we can improve together. I try to share my experience with them and show how I've overcome some of these difficulties. And I also, I don't know, I'm kind of all over the place, jack of all trades, if you will. I take people on trips sometimes, I plan it out. I want people to have a really good experience in every aspect of their life. And so for me, sometimes it's taking them on a hike, sometimes it's taking them to another country. And I really like social media. I love photography. I love writing, and for me, I like to share the experiences that I have because I travel a lot. And it's never, my intention is never to rub that in anyone's face or anything. It's just I want to inspire people to be more, do more, grow. Don't hold back. Just say yes to that trip. Take chances and understand that it's not always glamorous. Sometimes it's sleeping in hostels, sleeping in, I don't know, airports, and that's okay. It's fun. I want people to enjoy the journey. So,
yeah, it's so interesting you mentioned that because some of the best times I had were in sleeping in places like that. You know,
Yeah.
it was oh, and then you realize that some of the things that we want they're not really that important, right?
Yeah.
Because like I've been at a very very expensive hotel rooms, and I'm
Yeah.
going like, and after you go there and you take a couple, then you go like, that's it. It's like
Yeah.
something is missing, right?
And those are nice too. Those are great too. But
Yeah.
there's something about those gritty little hostels and
Yeah.
sharing a cup of noodles with butter with a bunch of strangers on some island, you know, outside of Cambodia. I don't know. It's the little things
Yeah,
that I
or you're
enjoy.
traveling and there's no rooms in this place and it's late because the plane was late and you got there
Yeah.
too late and you have to go somewhere else or whatever, you know. It's like it's really fun, and those are the things that really keep us alive, right?
I think so.
That
I
is
agree.
that is fantastic. And just so you know, it's like everybody that I ever met, okay, that is suffering through depression or something like that, what they do, they hide on their cocoon.
Yeah.
They stay at home in the room. They are alone in their own thoughts, and when you do that, your thoughts are negative, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like, why me? Why is this happening to me? And then usually people compare with somebody else that supposedly is having a great time, but we don't know what they're going through, right? So what you do is so beautiful. I really want to thank you because it's so beautiful because you take them out of that cocoon
Thank you.
and you take them out in nature where there's another energy, right?
Yeah.
And then they realize that, because usually when people are depressed, they think they're in the worst situation, that the problem is the worst. Nobody in the world has a problem like them or us, because I've been there too, right?
And another thing about that is, you know, I can't find a solution with the same brain that created these problems.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so for me, another thing that's been very important, which I don't think I mentioned, was having a relationship with a higher power. It doesn't necessarily have to be Christian or whatever, just something greater than myself, because I found people to be, people can be flawed, you know, and I've tried the psychiatrists and the doctors and the psych medications, and I just want to be raw and open, you know, because it hasn't all been peaches and cream. But if I have this greater power and I just have a little faith, then I'm not stuck in myself so much, you know.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And it's so powerful what you said. We had a guest last week on Kim Simsby, and he was saying the difference between people that are very successful and people that are not. It says both have the same type of problems. They both have the same type of problems, right? But some people just let those problems stop them, right?
Yeah.
And the people that are successful, not only they overcame the problems, but they made it look like it was easy.
Yeah.
Right, and it was not easy.
No,
it was not
absolutely
easy.
not.
There's always going to be a struggle,
Yeah.
and I learned that when I was quite young. And the idea came to me is because the universe is in a constant state of change, right? That's where we have problems, right?
Yeah.
It's like this person won this, but this person won that. There's going to be a challenge somewhere, right? A person A wants to go from here to here. Another person wants to go from here to here. There's going to be a traffic jam somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
that's
And that's
true.
going to make you be late or whatever. So, but when we learn that, hey, this is something that happens to everybody,
Yeah.
right? And by you getting 4 or 5 people together, what is very powerful, I can hallucinate, is that they go like, oh my God, my problem is it was not that bad, you know?
Yeah.
When I hear somebody else's, right?
Yeah.
But we get together, we have an experience, you take them out of that negative
Yeah.
state and you give them light. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and I also like to acknowledge that I still fall short. I've made a lot of progress, but I fall short, and I still, you know, the depression creeps in sometimes, or I do things that maybe I shouldn't, and that's okay. I'm a human being, and
Yes.
I fall short.
Yes,
But I really
and
love
it's normal,
to-
and that's normal, that's
Yeah.
natural, that's very
Exactly.
normal.
And I
you
love
know?
to remind people that that's okay, but just take a moment, regroup, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, and then use it to grow and move forward. I think that's essential.
That's very part, and you're very humble. I appreciate you saying that, you know. But most people think they have to be perfect, right?
Oh, gosh.
They have to be perfect. Now everything they have to be perfect, and that's why you have to be very careful with labeling yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because some people say like, oh, I'm like this person, and then it's like you're always gonna feel like you're not all the all the way there, right?
Yeah.
So I learned that when go ahead.
I was just gonna say I like I think it's a Japanese word, wabi-sabi, which means
Wabi-sabi.
beauty in the imperfection.
Oh yeah, and I think I read about that. It's like when you have like a jar or something, and it breaks or something, and then that's what makes it unique, right? If you look at like coins, right? Let's say like coins that are money. One coin that or even a bill that has a mistake, like 20 years later is worth like 100 times more than the regular bill that was perfect, right? So it's a beautiful.
Unique.
There's a beautiful story about this guy that was carrying. I don't know if you ever heard that was carrying. Just imagine somewhere in the country, right? And he's carrying these 2 jars with water, okay, from point A to point B with a stick that is holding them. Have you heard the story?
Maybe.
Okay, so he's carrying a stick. Just imagine this guy has to take water from this house to another house, right? So where the water is, so we just turn the faucet on, so we can relate to that, right? But in other countries, they have to walk miles just to either get water or to bring the water, right? So this guy's carrying the stick with these 2 jars, heavy jars of water, taking it to one house, right? So guess what happened? Unbeknownst to them, one of those jars was broken, right? So he's going all the way over there, and just imagine if the jars were talking to each other, right? So one is saying like, oh, you have a little hole over there, you are broken, you're no good, I'm perfect, right? And the other jar that has the hole, right, is going like, oh, I'm no good, oh my God, why you made this to me, whatever, right? So, but guess what happens, right? After a while of that trip, right, you look at both sides of the road, right? The one where the jar was perfect just looked like a regular field. The one where the jar was broken because there was water coming out is all full of flowers and so beautiful, right? So in your imperfection might be a gift for others. Just remember that, right? So we're not perfect. We're not designed to be perfect, you know. That's a stupid thing we put in our brains, right? So when I went on my journey actually of releasing my weight, and I got rid of 50 pounds that I no longer carry around, and I feel fantastic about it, I was trying to be perfect, right? And I said, you know what? It's going to be very, very stressful for the rest of my life to be perfect. So I gave myself permission to mess up 80% of the time. I said, you know what? 80% of the time, I'm going to be in control of my exercise, my nutrition, but the other 20%, you know, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to fall off the wagon. I may eat something that is not good, but without guilt. Or if I enjoy something, without guilt. So it's okay not to be perfect, okay? So Chelsi, great story. We're going to be right back, so you don't want to go anywhere, because we have more to share with you. You're in Manifesting Your Dreams with Pablo, Miguel, and Chelsi, who is amazing. So we'll be right back.
Hola, ¿qué tal mi gente? Mi nombre es Lupita Ramírez, estoy aquí en la ciudad de Las Vegas, Nevada, y bueno, pues yo los invito para que vean el programa Creando Nuestro Destino con Pablo Miguel Divelo. Les va a encantar, van a tener mucho que aprender, así que no se lo pierdan.
Hi everyone, Jennifer Mitsuko DeCueto. I am a print, hair, and body paint model here in Las Vegas. I am inviting you to watch A Fab Life with JC every Monday at 6 p.m. on social media shows.
Well, we're back here. You're in Manifesting Your Dreams. Some of you are just joining us. You're in Manifesting Your Dreams with Pablo, Miguel, and I'm here with Chelsi in Las Vegas. We were going over one of the chapters in the book, one of the key things if you want to manifest your dreams, which I know you do. And one of the most important things that people sometimes overlook is like if you want to make things happen in your life, if you have goals that you want to achieve, if you want to make a contribution in your community, you're going to have to learn how to overcome fear, right? This is something is innate of all of us. And Napoleon Hill, after interviewing actually 500 of the most successful people of his time, he discovered 6 major fears. I'm just going to read them very quickly because you probably know some of them. But one of the things that stop people is the fear of poverty, okay? The fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of the loss of love, right? Sometimes we make mistakes because we think people are not going to love us, right? Or we are not authentic. We just try to be like somebody else or pretend like somebody else. The fear of old age and the fear of death, right? And as a matter of fact, Napoleon Hill said that the number one reason people don't go after their dreams is they fear the criticism of their friends, family, and loved ones, right? So whenever you said, I want to make something happen, sometimes people go like, well, who are you? Yeah. Well, it's like, how, you know, are you pretentious or whatever, right? But if you want to bring your gift to the world, you're going to have to break over that, and just because you know you're doing the right things, right? So one of the things that really made me in a way that I really like myself is that I travel a lot, right? And I got to meet all types of different people and have a good point of comparison, right? And a lot of people in the US actually don't even have a passport, right? I mean, nothing wrong with it, but it's just they've never been out of their own town. Yeah. So their belief system might be a little bit limited to what they're seeing, right? And when I met you, Chelsi, you have dreams of traveling, you travel to Europe, and sometimes you say, well, how am I going to make that happen, right? Well, there's always a way. If there's a will, there's always a way, right? So tell us a little bit about your trip to Europe, some of the places you've been, things you like, things you learn, and things that maybe you have to overcome to make that happen. I think that would be quite inspiring.
Oh, gosh. Well, thank you. I'm not even sure where to start. I think my travel started, my first big trip was when I was 16. I went to Japan with some of my class from a Japanese course that I was taking. And that really opened my eyes and expanded what I knew as my world. You know, I thought it was just Toledo, and I didn't really travel much.
Toledo, Ohio, by the way.
Toledo, Ohio, yeah. And when I was in college at the University of Cincinnati, I think it was 3 years before I even left campus. And I don't know, traveling has just made me realize there's so many other cultures and so many other ways of life. I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, you can't possibly do that because you don't have a degree. And they shut me down from applying to certain colleges and following psychology, for example. People told me, oh, you'll never find work, you won't make enough, well, you're not great at writing, so you can't, you know?
How fast people make conclusions about somebody else, right, if you think about it.
In the beginning, I really let that stop me, and I had all these expectations and everything, but when I started to travel, I realized, wow, people are doing so many things I didn't even know was possible, like backpacking, for example. I didn't know you could just get up, save some money, and go out and backpack a country. That blew my mind, and I was like, you know what? I have these dreams of, I thought I was supposed to get married and get a good job and have a big house and a car, and I was like, I don't want those things. I just want to travel. And when I went to Europe, it's such a relaxing way of life. They go to these cafes. I mean, they work hard, don't get me wrong, but they'll sit at restaurants for a few hours and just interact with each other.
Talk, have a conversation.
Exactly.
Without watching your phone, right?
Yeah, and in America I found everyone's always on the go, I have to be here, I have to be there. And anyway, so now I've gone to France and Copenhagen and all over Italy recently, actually. And it's inspired me to follow my passions of art and painting and bringing other people to those places.
And photography.
Well.
Oh my God, your pictures on social media are amazing. It's like I'm going oh my God, I need to come back with 15 minutes just to look at your picture because you look phenomenal.
Thank you. That's how I like to share I don't know, what I'm seeing, I guess.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I really like about you. It's not just about you, but you're always thinking, how can I use this to pay forward, to inspire somebody else, right?
Try.
So, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it's not, because sometimes, because one of the things that I learned, yeah, it's good to have the home, it's good to have those things, but what really make us happy is the experiences that we have. It's not so
Yes.
much what we own, but the experiences that we have, and when we can share that with other people, it's even fantastic, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Did that answer your question?
oh yeah, oh, that
Okay.
was fantastic. That was fabulous. So if somebody wanted to connect with you, or maybe how can they get reached? How can they find you? Or I know your Instagram is fabulous.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is Chelsi in the house.
Chelsea in the house.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
CHELSIINTHE.
And we're gonna put the caption
HOUSE.
below so they can
Yeah.
see it. Okay.
And I'm on Facebook, Chelsi Soley.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to Europe, parts of Asia. So if you have any interest in wanting to travel there, I plan out trips. I go with people. If you want to go on hikes in America, I can plan that out as well. And I really encourage anyone dealing.
She's great at getting groups together and actually, create a great experience. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And I do encourage anyone struggling with addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, just self-doubt, to reach out, and I'd love to talk with you, see what we can do to help, I guess.
That is fantastic. So that's fabulous. So if you know anybody that could benefit from that, definitely they want to take you up on that. And when do you imagine when you were a little girl and you were going through all those challenges and the victimhood that you're going to travel the world?
Absolutely not. I mean,
Isn't
it's
that
honestly
amazing?
a dream come true. It really is.
Yeah. So you can manifest your dreams. She's
Yeah.
proof of that, right?
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
I literally used to carry around a little box of toilet paper because I didn't know where I was going to be. We moved around a lot, and
Wow.
and that's just, it is what it is.
As a kid, right?
Yeah, as a kid, and not always. There were really
Yeah,
great
yeah.
parts as well, but that was
Yeah.
like a little piece of my story. And I don't know, traveling doesn't have to be so complicated, really. It's just about saving a little, planning a bit, and just going for it. And
It is
anyone can
possible.
do it.
Yeah, it
Anyone
is
can do it.
possible. So what is next? What in the next 5 years? What would you like to travel to? Is there any?
Oh gosh.
What is on the
Machu
dream
Picchu.
Machu Picchu?
Oh,
Okay.
Nepal. There are definitely some hikes in Nepal that I'd like to go to. Right now, I think I'd like to focus more on working here, just to pay back some financial stuff with student loans and all that. But I'd love to travel in America more. There's so much here I haven't seen, actually. I've never been to San Francisco, just, I don't know. Honestly, one of my biggest things is I try not to plan too far ahead. I like to be in the moment,
Exactly.
present, and because I do that, I'm able to just say yes to things when they come.
You're more flexible.
Yeah,
right?
and pros and cons to that, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, so yes, you can manifest your dreams. That's what we're here for. We want to inspire you, right? Inspire you. It doesn't matter where you came from,
No.
right? It doesn't matter what happened when you were a kid. It doesn't matter what happened 2 weeks ago, right? We were blessed by higher power with the power of choice, right? So we can choose right now. Whatever happened in the past, we can label ourselves like a victim, or we can say, I'm going to overcome that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a victor, right? And I'm going to be an example of possibilities for other people. So we want to inspire you to start dreaming again. So if you think of anybody that might benefit from that, tag them along, okay? Tag them along. Go to manifestingyourdreams.net because you want to stay connected, right? That's
Yeah,
one of the things that I learned is like who you associate with, the 5 people you spend the most time with. Eventually, we become an average in everything, right? So if we are with people that are every night, they're going out and drinking and so forth, we're going to go on drinking and so forth, and then at one point we have to say, like you did, say, I'm going to go sober.
Yeah.
5 years now, that is fantastic. So suddenly
I still
your
go out
friends change a little bit.
dancing and-
And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with we have a good time. There's nothing wrong. We have a good time. Just we want to make sure that most of our habits or most of our decisions
Yeah.
are taking us on the road that we want to go, right?
Exactly.
So tips, strategies, share with us what you learned, okay? What decisions have you made? If you just join us, there are 3 more segments, so you want to watch the whole interview because Chelsea, you've been absolutely amazing, okay?
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see what you're going to be doing in the next 5 years and how many lives you're going to change, right? Because it's all about what we do today. You know, yesterday is gone, right? We still have the pictures, right?
Yeah.
We still have the experiences,
Of
right? But
pictures.
good or bad is gone. So we better learn from the bad, right? Or just remember with a smile of the good. And then tomorrow, we don't know what's going to happen, right? You know, we can plan whatever we want. We have no idea when we wake up tomorrow what's going to happen.
I don't even know what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes.
We don't know. Well, you know, we're going to, in a few minutes, we're going to be done here, right? But exactly, it's like we have no control of the future. The only control we have is what we do right now. It's on the present moment. So we want to encourage people not to be so much on their phones, right? It is good, but it is bad, right? Like I see like pictures now with people, it's like 4 people, and everybody's looking at their phone. They're not even talking to each other, right? They're more concerned how they look to somebody that may be a stranger in another planet, you know, in another country,
Yeah.
than the person next to you. So let's get in the habit of when we are with somebody, turn that phone off, right? And then you can always go back. The messages don't disappear. They don't self-evaporate, right? So we hope you enjoy our conversation today. We really hope you planted some seeds so you could actually pay forward to other people. If you haven't read this book, we highly recommend it, not just for you, but it's a book that if there's a teenager in your family or a young person, okay, you want to give them that book because it might open up their lives. It might open up some of the ideas of what is possible because the future is unlimited, okay? So Chelsi, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
I really enjoy a lot. I'm going to
Thank
watch
you.
this again and take some notes.
Wonderful.
And we'll see you next week. So go have a fantastic day, have a
Yes.
fantastic week because you will start even more than ever manifesting your dreams. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Fear not.
Yes.